everyone. Thank you for coming to my channel and checking out this video. In this video, we are going to discuss how to finish a hoop. This is how I personally finish all of my cross stitch and embroidery hoops. I will show you the process of finishing this one, and it will resemble this one, which is a matching one. I described in an earlier video on how to backstitch and showed a bit of the process of this one. I choose to do some hoops black and others just natural, so that's the only difference between these two, but they do go in a set. I do sell the patterns in my shop. I will link that in the description box. But at the end of the day, this is what we're looking for on the back of the hoop. We are looking for enough fabric just to fold over and glue. It will be, please note, permanently attached to this. You can then not take this out, sort of getting a blade and cutting this out, and then you just can't remove it. So once you choose to glue it, it is permanent. There are dozens of ways to finish the back of an embroidery hoop. Some people do beautiful things where they back it with a piece of felt or fabric. They even include their store or business logo in the back with a stamp. It's beautiful. I choose not to do that. One, for time, I'm not gonna lie, it's already a time-consuming business to run. Embroidery is not something that you can kind of whip up, so a time saver. Also, it is just very inexpensive to do. I don't have to buy other material. I don't have to learn how to do it, if you will. This is very basic. All you need are scissors and glue. So I've just chosen to continue going this way. Another reason why is I really do like having the back exposed. I like, especially when I'm doing a custom piece for someone, I like letting them see that it's handmade. Not that if you cover it up, you're taking anything away. I just choose to keep it exposed. I think it gives it more character. It shows the process on the back. You might get a cat fur or two embedded in the thread as well if you have pets. So yeah, I just choose to leave it exposed and visible because I just think sometimes the backs are beautiful in their own way, and I don't want to cover up the process. This is the behind the scenes, if you will. So I like to leave it exposed. If someone chose to take it off the wall or take it off the shelf and flip it over, they can see how I did it. So first things first, I just finished sewing this one, embroidering it. Please always be very careful with your needle. It's at this point in the process where you don't need the needle anymore. You've done the sewing, the stitching, the embroidering. If you have small children and pets especially, please keep tabs on your needles. Obviously, even if there's just humans, adults in your house, you don't want to step on one. You don't want to lose it. You don't want to go behind the couch and do this and have it in your finger. They do hurt. It is a needle, so please be careful. There is a thing called a needle minder. I guess because it's minding your needle. I don't know why it's called that, but this is them. These are two I've purchased off Etsy over the years. And basically it's just a decorative piece with a magnet on the back. What you do to use this properly is put the decorative part on the front, put the magnet on the back like so, and it will just stick. And when you are not working on currently stitching, your needle will stick to it. I do recommend using them if you're experiencing misplacing them or panicking and then finding them. I have done that too, especially if I sew while in bed or on a couch, somewhere that has material. I tend to just like jab it out of habit, and sometimes if it's a gray surface or something similar to the needle color, or it's not a well-lit room, panic kicks in because then you can't see your needle. And I have two cats. There's 3 adults in the house. I don't need anybody sitting on this, eating this, swallowing this. We did have a cat swallow one of my mom's once. She survived. She didn't even need surgery, and we were told that was 1 in 100,000 chance. So we don't need to push our luck again. Thankfully, she swallowed it dull side, but still, she somehow digested it, and she's our little miracle cat. So we don't need to experience that again. Please be careful at this process. Put your needle away if you have a case, or what I do, I just leave these high up on a shelf that no cat or child can reach, and I just attach my needle and then I put it aside. Then I also know where it is for when I start my next project. So I'm going to clear off the surface here. All we need, this is what we needed for during the stitching, the thread, some snips or some scissors. We don't need those anymore. Tape, in case you didn't watch my previous video, I like to use Scotch tape because once again, I do live with fur babies, and also just lint from shirts. I wear a lot of black clothing. Even if black material brushes up against it, I'm typically working on white, so it will get some lint or fur on it or hair. I just do this along it. I will do it again after we've glued, but that's why the tape is in my immediate embroidery kit. That goes in my garbage pile. So all you need, again, scissors and glue. I do recommend fabric scissors if you're going to be doing embroidery regularly. It's worth the investment. I got mine at a store here in Canada called Fabricland. I actually got them given to me as a gift, and they're great. They stay very sharp. I would not recommend cutting paper or cardboard or other materials with them. Just keep them for fabric. It'll just keep them sharper and last much longer. So you need scissors. If you don't have fabric scissors, you can use other scissors like kitchen scissors. It's just going to be a bit tricky. So this is something, again, if you plan on doing more than one, you might want to just go online, shop from your local store, and or go in person and get yourself some fabric scissors. The other item I use for backing my hoops, or finishing my hoops, I should say, is this glue. I guess you pronounce that Aleene's, or I guess I don't know if you'd say Eileen's original tacky glue. It is an American product, so I am able to find it at Michael's craft store we have here in Canada. And a bottle is like $3.99 here in Canada, and it lasts a very long time. Like, I finish off quite a number of hoops, and I have one of these for months. I usually have 2 more full ones or 1 more on my shelf as backup. Especially around Christmas time, I will go through it a bit, but even then, a whole bottle would last me the entire Christmas season, and that's making hundreds of pieces. So again, inexpensive and works wonders. So before we glue, we have to cut. All of this is just excess material that we need to remove before gluing. Before doing so, I do always just go around one more time. I ensure that the hoop is really tight, like I can't tighten it much more if at all. And I just pull around the outside just to make sure that we don't have any bits that are like sagging in a bit. And when you do it, you also want to just push down on this. It'll make sense if when you're doing it, but sometimes it gets lifted, and that's what's causing it to be kind of pooky, and it's literally just at different levels. So you just have to push the hoops back together and then just give it a pull. So you just kind of fiddle with it and you get the hang of it. Working at a much larger hoop is very difficult to keep it like nice and taut. I always like to keep it very tight. Again, I've seen some online that are really saggy. You can then, the problem with a saggy embroidery is visually it just loses its crispness. My OCD cannot handle that. And lastly, it also just will let any creases or folds in the fabric show. So right here, like I can see there's a crease in the fabric, but you can't see it here because this is pulled so tight. So obviously a fabric pile is usually folded. I do iron before I start embroidering because I want to ensure that I've at least tried my best to get out folds and wrinkles, but sometimes they still just pop up after time, and if your embroidery is tight enough, it likely won't show. So once I've pulled around, everything's good to go, I'm going to start to cut. Now this part, again, is hard to describe in a guide, and that's why I wanted to make these videos. You want to cut kind of like, I always test before I keep going with the whole thing. We can actually just cut this off. It'll make it easier for the video. You want to just wrap it around and make sure that you're doing the right width. You don't want this to be too long. Otherwise it's going to bunch in here and it will be visible through here. It'll be like kind of white and push up like that. And it looks terrible. So you want it to be not so little that you can't even wrap it around, but not so much that it touches the inner fabric here. So this might even be a little too short to be absolutely perfect, but this will absolutely do. You can't get it even the whole way around, and you don't have to. It's just about keeping it, like, you don't want to just all of a sudden go like that. That is going to be a problem. So you want to just keep it roughly the same measurement. It's about 1 centimeter. For my American friends, I'm sorry, you might have to look at a ruler or just eyeball this, because I don't know what it is in inches, but it's about 1 centimeter or just under. And you just go all the way around. Depending on your material you're using, it will leave, like mine does anyway, little bits of lint everywhere. Sometimes I do this on my bed or a couch. And again, if it's a dark surface, this will show, and it is a little bit of a cleanup. So doing it on a sturdy, clean surface is probably advisable, even though I don't always do that myself. And once you've met all the way around, this is all scrap. If you collect scraps or have anything to do with these, by all means, these are your scraps. Do with them what you'd like. I do throw them out because I have no use for them. My mom is an avid quilter and sewer, so she keeps them and makes projects out of them, and I'm all for upcycling and no waste, but unfortunately I have not come up with something to use my waste with. Usually there's not quite so much, but this isn't too bad. It will biodegrade over time, so that goes in my garbage pile, and all we are left with is a little bit of a mess and our cut hoop. So now is the last process. We do not need the scissors again. All we need is our glue. You pop the lid off. The first time you open one of these, if you do get this brand, you do have to cut the top off a smidge. So this has like a bit of a cap to it. I just use my fabric scissors and go like this, not too far down, because the more you cut, the more glue will pour out. So I keep it as close to the top as I can, cut, and pick up the plastic bit to make sure no cat eats it, throw it in the garbage, and then the glue will easily come out. So I hope this translates well on video. If I cut out a frame a little bit, I apologize, because I just have to make sure I glue it properly. You have to wait a minute if you've been using this for a while, just for the glue to go down to the tip. But don't look away from it, because you might look down and see a pile of glue, because it will just start to pour out. So yeah, now we're good. So you just want to, I mean, I'm sure you've used glue before. I'm just kind of doing this step by step, because if all of this glue poured out right now, I'm going to ruin the embroidery. So it is kind of you have to be cautious. You have to be alert of what you're doing. And I just do this all the way around the inner edge. So I'm doing it, hopefully you guys can see that. Because I'm going against the window light. There we go. Just doing it on the inner lip of the embroidery hoop. And the amount is crucial. If you put too much, when I fold it over, it's going to ooze and touch the inside of the embroidery. If I do too little, it just won't stick. So speaking of, see how it just drips out? I almost wore that part. Wouldn't be the first time. So you just go around. Again, when I'm sitting cross-legged, I can do it a little bit faster and a bit smoother, but I have this table in front of me today for video purposes. And it doesn't matter how pretty the glue goes down, because it will get covered and it will dry clear, thankfully. If it does get onto your fabric, like I've said, onto this part, it does dry clear, but it creates like it's just like a hardened section, right? It's just hardened glue. But you can see it from the front, and it really bothers me. I've done it before. It's not like I've never done this. That's why I'm telling you guys about it, though, so you don't have to learn the hard way by doing it. So that's it. The glue is done. Always remember to pop your cap back on, or else your glue will be dried out the next time. So now I've got glue all the way around the edge. All I'm going to do is I start at the top. You can start wherever you want. And I just pull down. And all you're going to do is just fold it over and in. And again, I kind of go at like this speed when I'm doing it normally, because I've done thousands of these, but I'm going to slow it down just a bit. And there will be some sections where the glue does hit the fabric. As long as it's not globbed on, you'll be okay. And this is it. Now, I've gone around the whole thing, but as you can see, it's not sticking fully everywhere. I find that I have to go around 2 or 3 times. So don't think that you're doing it wrong if it starts like peeling or lifting. You have to keep going around. And I find The smaller the hoop, the more times I have to go around. So this is an 8-inch hoop. It's not too bad. I go around 2 or 3 times and then it'll stick. But 10 minutes later, 5 minutes later, I'll go around it again with my fingers because it's at that almost hardening stage. And if I don't, it's okay, but it just looks a little bit more flat and cleaner if I go around it again, if I remember. But when I'm doing like Christmas ornaments or smaller hoops that are 4 inches, it's just, it's harder. There's not as much surface for all of the fabric to stick to. So it's the smaller the hoop, the more times you have to just kind of go around with your fingers, or your thumbs, I should say. They're doing most of the work here. I also do it like this. Sometimes I'm just using my chest to rest the hoop on, and I just go around like this. So that's just something that I've kind of gotten used to doing because I've done so many. But you can absolutely just hold it and just go slowly around the edge. So I think I've gone around 3 or 4 times. It's better to go around a few more times, in my opinion, than not enough and find out hours later that it didn't stick properly, and there's nothing we can really do about it then. As you can see in here, it is not touching anywhere. Again, this is years of my judgment and experience. If you master this right off the bat, congratulations, you are meant to do this, and I applaud you. I definitely have my fair share of ones that are too short and too long, and you just live and learn, right? Even if you can see it a bit on the front, it is what it is. It's a handmade piece. You've made it. You've finished it off, and that's what matters. If you're gifting it to someone, they honestly probably won't even notice. I've definitely made things that have mistakes that only I'm going to see. I'll tell my mom or my friends and point them out, and they're like, I would never have noticed that. So don't ever be too hard on yourself with your finished piece, how you glue something, how you tie your knots. It's just supposed to be fun. If this video and the way I do things doesn't jive with your way of thinking, I will not be offended. Please, there are many, many videos out there. There's many, many fiber artists who might do it slightly different, and that might work a bit better for you. So just shop around until you find a process that really works with you. And when you're done, it will feel great. You look at this on your wall, or you see your friend's face when you gift them an original piece that you've made. And honestly, there's no feeling like it. It is a special occupation to have. I am so blessed to be able to make art for people and also now make patterns. I am so excited. I really hope that a few beginners give this one a shot. It's a great piece. I mean, I'm a plant lady too, so how can I say no to making this? This one is going to proudly hang in my room for a while. And again, if you do one of your own, please tag me on social media. If you have a private account, I can't see it even if you tag me, but you feel free to DM them to me. I love seeing photos. If you have any questions, please reach out. Do not hesitate. I will do my best to help you out, whether you message in the comments below or find me on social media, on Instagram or email and message me there. I hope this makes sense to everyone. Happy stitching, good luck, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.